by the model. And I do want to get in there, but I just want to say this. Maybe it's a fun nugget. It's so simplistic because what you were talking about was so incredibly profound. But the simplistic version is that creation isn't a linear thing, it's this nonlinear thing where you're opening up your energy. I mean, almost like to what Carl Jung was talking about is sort of the like collective unconscious, and that can provide insights into stuff that's like way beyond our own personal individual capacities. And guess what, all you listeners, like that's how a lot of these great ideas came to be. It's not by people waking up in the morning and running to their computers and like doing their work, right? And I think this is great because we're going to be getting into ser, which is to be. In fact, these great leaders are getting up in the morning and they're getting to their meditation mats and they're being, ser, to be. And that's how all this incredible creation is happening. So, okay, so can we get into the principles? I'm so excited.
Yes, absolutely. And what you were saying is the key to everything. And I want to use that to flow into the principles. Everyone knows this. Like we get answers to questions, we get great ideas, not when we're sitting behind a computer, like punching it up or doing the processes. We get them when we're taking a bath, when it's the middle of the night and we're tired and we wake up in the middle of the night and then all of a sudden we understand, or when we go out running or when we're meditating. It's when we calm down and open up ourselves when we actually get that information, right? When we allow ourselves to open up, right? So the principles, what they do is they move us into, what the principles do is they serve as a way to see ourselves in a form that will actually put us into a virtuous cycle, right? So the main principle, and you were talking about this a few minutes ago, is purpose, right? So it's understanding that life is not about me, it's about how I serve, right? So purpose is having a why, having a reason why I get up in the morning, why I work, a reason that's beyond my ego, right? Beyond getting a new car or building a new house or flying somewhere. It's like it's about creating impact, right? And that is directly related to our natural way of being, right? Because we're social beings, and as long as we're serving the tribe, we have a place in the tribe, right? So if I'm serving the tribe has a place for me, and the tribe loves me and takes care of me if I'm taking care of the tribe. So it actually gives us well-being, right? So purpose is the first principle. The next one is understanding that we are part of a tribe, which is interdependence. We're all in this together, right? And we hopefully we get to expand that idea of interdependence to the whole world. Like every being in the ecosystem is important, right? And we know, most of us know, that if bees die, all of us are dead, right? And that's how interrelated we are, right? A single organism holds biodiversity in the whole world, right? So interdependence is the second principle. Third principle is responsibility, and I like calling it unconditional responsibility, which is it means like I stop being a victim of life and I start being the architect of my own life, right? So I start being a victim of, okay, so the world doesn't allow me to, my family, my story, my past, the people I work with, right? So, and I start taking responsibility for how I show up and what decisions am I making, what decisions am I not making, right? The actions that I'm taking and the actions that I'm not taking. Right? And as I embrace that responsibility, now I can expand, right? Now, because that's all I can work with is with who I am and how I show up. So responsibility should take us into the fourth principle, which is compassion, right? Which is, I like translating compassion into how am I creating value for myself and others, right? The real definition of compassion, or more the Buddhist definition of compassion, is like when you see suffering, you get this feeling, this deep feeling of wanting to get rid of it, right? So you can't bear seeing suffering. It triggers action. So I like compassion over empathy, because empathy is like you feel the pain of the other, right? You understand how the other person's feeling, but compassion takes action, right? So compassion is the fourth principle. And then the fifth principle is having a beginner's mind, right? So being open to learning all the time. And a beginner's mind is really important because the moment I know something, I'm disconnected from the system, right? The moment I know what you're going to say, I'm no longer listening, right? I already know. So I'm already in my head. So having a beginner's mind keeps us expanding, keeps us learning, keeps us connected, right? So when we get all these five principles and we start using them, purpose, to impact the system interdependence, I assume responsibility for the role that I play. I seek to create value and I learn all the time. I keep myself expanding and creating value for myself and others. Right. So when we adopt this as a person, as a leader, or as an organization, in this case, a business, we get this system that holds itself, right? Which is instead of being taking from others, it starts providing for others, right? So people will take care of me. And there's studies, there's this beautiful study in Harvard professor did this study of what he called conscious businesses and the revenue that they generated for the 10 years. And conscious businesses created 10 times more revenue during a 10-year period than non-conscious business in the same industries, right? Because they have more intimate relationship with all their stakeholders because they're taking care of the stakeholders, so the stakeholders take care of them, right? So we create this virtuous cycle of growth and expansion, right? So those are the five principles of the model, and it's a way of living, and this is the way I've been living for the past 12 years approximately, which is like I'm seeking to create value in every in every relationship that comes up. I'm assuming responsibility for my own self. I understand that whatever I put out, I'm impacting someone, and that is going to impact me. And the key thing to all of this is how do I need, it's like as I bring my awareness within, how can I constantly expand or learn from this, which is a beginner's mindset.
I love that. And I love how the beginner's mindset then loops back to purpose and it goes through the whole thing. And, I can see how this model.